All right, welcome back. Well, yes, we're focusing on those issues highlighted in that report. We've got Mr. Owoseni here with us. He's a former commissioner of police in Benue, Lagos. Good to see you. Thank you for coming on.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Well, so this scenario that that is playing out now, we know that it's not just in Zamfara. I mean, several other areas are highlighted. There's Anambra there, Katsina, Rivers, Borno, so different challenges plaguing the country. But for those who say this response may just be characteristic of how we respond to these kind of issues, would they be wrong to say that?
I will not accept that 100%. There is no society that is free of crime. Even where you have the most advanced technology, you still see one thing or the other being done by criminal elements. In our situation, from what we've just seen, the preamble to this, what is required is what is being done now. Make an appraiser of the approaches that were being used before and see whether you can re-strategize. The dynamism of the society also explain the fact that crimes we come and it evolves. The way it is committed, that is in terms of sophistication and the types. So when things like this come up, I think, yes, the members of the public must cry out.
Yeah,
but
and many of them always keep asking in that cry,
yes,
why do these things look, I mean, why do they look as if it's impossible to tackle?
It's not impossible. As I said, once you are dealing with one kind of crime at a particular time, the criminals are also not sleeping. Another type of crime is coming up. So it is just to review strategy periodically and to make sure that the security agencies, the law enforcement institutions are far ahead. We must be proactive. And that is.
But it always appears as though they are reactive.
You know, that is why people talk of a counter-insurgency thing as against anti-insurgency thing.
But with regards to Zamfara,
yes,
if the government is coming out today to say that all mining activities should be suspended, and we've had a guest, a security expert, highly placed, on this same seat that you're sitting, and he revealed that a long time ago, that this fight in Zamfara State is about resource control, mining activities happening there. Why then, if the government is not being reactive, why did it have to wait this long for innocent people to be caught up in the web of this violence before saying all activities of mining should be stopped?
You see, it's unfortunate that we're having this. It has happened before. It was brought down. It came up again. It is for us to continue, as I said, to re-strategize, to get more connected with the local community. And when experts talk of the concept of ungoverned places, that is what they're talking about. When you look at the size of Nigeria, a lot of things will come in. If you drive, all of us, if we drive out of Lagos, if we are driving into the hinterland, you will see so many places, and you wonder, is there presence of government here? In the case of Zamfara, where you have these mining activities taking place, you've had people, maybe because of non-presence of government in some of those places, you've had people that have created fiefdom. Somebody that sits on a certain area and think it is right to collect one royalty or the other. And of course, government will come in, give license to some people, And you have also that stretch of the forest from Kaduna that, cut across. There was a time that that place was bombarded because of the rustling activities, and the criminals were rooted out. And of course, as you are doing that, they are planning. I think I want to be positive. Yes, it may look as if, why have we not done this before? There must have been some intelligence that just, got into the security agencies for this to have now been done. It is just for us to let us see how we can effect this. It's one thing to say mining activities suspended. It's another thing for us to have the wherewithal to effect it.
What are we dealing with? Because you have had the experience. You've had the experience, especially when you were taken out of Lagos to Benue State because of the herdsman crisis there. And the discussion was around the metamorphosis of Boko Haram to herdsmen, to bandits, to marauders in Sokoto. What is it we're dealing with now? Are these elements members of Boko Haram that have converted and are perpetrating this crime? Or do we have a different set of people who came in from outside this country to Zamfara State, for instance, because of mining?
You can't rule it out that some of the Boko Haram elements that either been released or some that have escaped have infiltrated that area. But you remember that the Boko Haram thing was more or less concentrated in the northeast before. And of course, that axis of the northwest, we've always had this cattle rustling thing, plus these mining activities that have not been controlled. That people just infiltrated into the country, and you have the elements of the community who, because of one thing or the other that they will derive from it, support them to do some of those things. Like we used to have in Lagos State, where then we were saying that some of the local communities in Arepo were conniving with those criminal elements that were tampering with the pipelines. And it was when it got to a stage that the government blocked the pipeline, and some of the local elements that were benefiting from the products, that were bunkered, they couldn't get anything again, and those fellows turned to them by kidnapping some of the people in that locality, that it became a problem. So you have that. But as I said, I want to be positive that this new step, if the security elements work together, because it's a new direction you are seeing now.
The if there.
Yes.
Mr. Owoseni, you spoke about intelligence the other time, and you made reference to intelligence from the natives within the environment. And we had previously asked, about why are we more reactive than proactive? Is there a failure of intelligence on the part of our security apparatus, or we just wait for things to happen?
You see, intelligence is not just the work of the security operatives. Intelligence is the work of everyone. Me, you, all members of the community. It depends on the approach you give to, you offer to the people that make them to come to you. But when you are fighting this kind of war, guerrilla warfare, and asymmetric warfare, you cannot win by force. It has to be intelligence. Intelligence about the terrain of the place, about the culture of the people as well.
That terrain,
yes,
Mr. Owoseni, is really the issue now. I mean, we have just begun to hear of collaboration between the police and the Air Force and all of that. The question on my mind, because thousands of people have already been killed. For how long this is going to happen is a question that many people are asking now. So how can we get ahead of this so we know it will happen? Because, okay, let me just ask you straight up. Didn't we know that this was going to happen?
You see, when you talk of crime, security challenges, yes, you can predict, but when you are predicting as well, you can't get it 100%. Why are the advanced countries that have all the technology to see things, why are they crying out? Why is President Donald Trump saying that I want to build a wall, I want to do this, I want to do that?
But we know that the challenges are completely different from what we face. If these are basic ones here, it can't be comparable to that. But for instance, you say, if the security agencies work together,
yes,
why don't they work together?
But you can see a new direction to it now.
Yeah, this is,
Yes.
who knows?
It's not as if they've not been working together, but they need to synergize more. Each and every security unit should know that this is where I should start and stop and hand over to this. So if we do that, and I want to think that with the new initiative that is coming up now, let's just let the government provide the wherewithal to effect this. If you collaborate very well and you use whatever intelligence you get from the grant, the people must be involved. You cannot win this war without the people.
Do you agree with those who say, pardon me, those who say that part of the challenge too, because when you say with this new initiative, many will think, look, how do they know this will be consistent? For instance, yes, they're responding to this particular one now in this manner. Are we going to get the same kind of response? Look at the other states mentioned there, Kaduna, Anambra, Rivers. But are we going to get the same consistency with responding to those issues?
What should be factored into it is one state should not be taken in isolation. As you are doing it here, you are doing it elsewhere. Because once you are flushing them out here, they are moving to the other place. Look at the whole of that axis. The northwest, the northeast, and the linkage to the north central. These people are mobile. They are highly mobile. And you have all those places that, you can trek like how many kilometers without anybody seeing you in the bush.
Why don't you arrest them?
Arrest?
Yes, arrest them.
These are people you can't see. Even the presence.
You cannot see them.
The terrain is such that if you want to do that, you must have,
community people?
Yes, that is why the people have to be involved. People must be able to say that, okay, we have seen a mass of people moving here, and not just the information, the ability to respond immediately to that.
So when you made mention of Lagos and the Arepo area where bunkering was taking place, and the people you said they were in cahoot with the criminals to lift product out of and steal from the government, as it were. Is it the same thing that is happening in Zamfara? Are they stealing in cahoot with the residents or citizens of in that area to defraud or steal from this government and use mining as a cover-up?
It is possible. It is also, you can also say that, you look at the other way. But the thing is that the people themselves, the members of the community, have suffered enough. They won't just be watching and continue to connive to allow themselves to be killed.
Do you know who the miners are? Are they localized miners? Are they foreign miners in that area?
It must be a mixed thing from what we are hearing now, because the emphasis is also on foreigners, license being revoked and all those things. So it must be a mass of people. That would be people that are not Nigerians that have come in, but they will also have collaborators within the community.
You've spoken about community members need to be involved in this, if the security agencies will work together, if this new initiative, new approach, will be continued. So what we glean from what you're saying, and correct us if I'm wrong, is that there's a fundamental problem with policing at the moment. So are we really going to get results if we don't address the fundamental challenge of policing this country?
Policing all over the world is the same thing. You must work with the people. It is
no,
not
I'm talking
peculiar
about
to
as
Nigeria.
presently constituted.
Yes.
These challenges you've highlighted suggest that there is a fundamental problem with the way we're policing in this country at the moment. Because those issues you've highlighted, if they're not addressed, will we ever get results?
There are a lot of things to policing, as I've said. If we are saying there are fundamental challenges to policing, it involves a lot of things. How many people do you have policing Nigeria with the size? What is the wherewithal that the police even have to cover the places? And I've mentioned the concept of ungoverned spaces, because the police that has the largest spread all over the country, when you look at the police post, the village post and everything, how many men do you have there? What is it that they have to even cover that area? We are talking of terrain. You probably need to, like the forest I'm talking of, you probably need to have some rangers. The police used to have that mounted troop element. You need to have vehicles that must be constantly on that road. There must be constant presence.
And all these things are not there at the moment.
I doubt if they're there. They are not. If they're there, they are not adequate. Even in the cities, how many of those things do you have?
But there's something like a joint security agencies that usually, patrol those areas and try to ensure that where this one lacks, another part of the security architecture balances up. Is that not in place also?
Security is about the most expensive thing, and that is one of the primary things, obligation of government, is one of the most expensive things. It is what we have to know is that when you talk of security, it's not just the work for the police, it's not just the work for the military, it's the work for all of us. You look at even the political element. We have members of House of Representatives, we have members of House of Assembly, you have senators. How often do they go back home to meet the people that voted for them? What kind of interaction do they have with them? Other than that, after election, everyone remains in Abuja. When they are going, they go with.
If some of them are afraid of being kidnapped, nobody will go.
Why should you be afraid of being kidnapped when you are saying that, oh, it's my people that said I should go and contest, it's my people that voted for me? You should be secure, you should feel secure within your community. And that's it. Okay. Everybody must be involved. You cannot push it to only the uniform people. Everyone, the work of security is something that involves everyone.
But the legislators are scared, really, especially Kaduna Abuja route. They don't want to apply it at all because they are
but
afraid.
When election comes, they are not scared to go there, to go and solicit for votes. So it is after the election that they now get scared.
No, because one will want to put 1 and 2 together and say, if you give that submission, does it mean that the legislators are still part of the people who are taking this, or should I say, employing the services of this
No, what I'm
criminals?
saying is that it's an all-embracing thing. All of us must get involved one way or the other. There must be the wherewithal for the security agencies to perform. As I've told you, we've had the Inspector General of Police mention that mining activities are suspended in Zamfara. We want foreigners to also leave the place, but it goes beyond that. I want to believe, yes, I'm not part of the system. Again, that meeting took long. The service chiefs were there. You've seen all the people that were with the Inspector General of Police. It is for them to now say, okay, yes, we want to do this. We are giving effect to it. These are the number of men we have. These are the vehicles we have. How do you fund even? It's one thing to say that we've released 1,000 patrol vehicles. How do you even fund the vehicles? Men that you are putting there, is there anything for them to eat or drink or what?
The VP said the other day, I mean, he's been saying this for a while, that Look, you can't centrally police a country the size of Nigeria from Abuja. Do you subscribe to that school of thought?
As of the moment, the police is not central. Nigeria is not centrally policed. Why do you have commissioners of police? Why do you have DPOs?
Who all take
But
instructions
that-
from
that-
the top?
No. When you talk of instruction, it's not like that. It is the way the activities, as the DPO, you have the primary responsibility. You will not wait for the commission. The DPO will not wait for the commissioner of police to get instruction to go and arrest an armed robber or a murderer.
Mr. Owoseni,
The commissioner of police will not wait for the inspector general of police.
Does
If you
that
don't
then
do
mean-
it, that means that you are not fit to be there.
does that then mean the VP doesn't know what he's talking about?
It's a different thing in a different context. Because I want to guess where you are going to. The issue, the overheated issue of whether we should have state police, whether governors are.
It doesn't
this
matter what they
or
call
that.
it.
Yes.
He just has seen a problem.
Policing must be
Policing in the
taken to the grassroots. It is taking policing to the grassroots is different from the issue of state police or not. Even if you have state police and you don't get the grassroots involved in policing, it is still nothing.
This issue that you have just raised now brings to mind the question of trust. Does the police trust the people? Do the people trust the police?
We must trust us. We must trust
We need
ourselves.
to engineer that
I
process.
would believe, with my experience, I worked here, and I can say to an extent that in Lagos State, when we were here, people worked with us. In Benue State, people worked with us,
There were
and we worked with them.
But there were occasions where you take a case to the police station to report it, and then you become the villain.
Excuse me, that is just the general saying. It's not everything that you hear people say that are right. And when you have a mass of people, there must also be some elements that will sell out or bad. If you have a police population of about 250,000 or 300,000, you cannot expect everybody to behave the same way. If you talk of policing, because I don't want us to digress, Nigeria is about the most difficult place to police. Nigeria is about the most difficult place
But
where you
talking
want to
about
talk of.
technology, that if we apply that, it makes everything easy.
Technology also isn't, you know, the investment in technology. Everybody will talk of CCTV. There are human CCTV. The human CCTVs are the local communities, but we tell you that this person is passing,
Just
that
one more thing.
person is passing.
Why do you think governors usually just go to Abuja asking them to intervene in what's happening in their states and that they're helpless?
The governors must take responsibility for the states that they are governing. The governors don't necessarily have to go to Abuja to go and get instruction or say intervene. If you are a sitting governor, you should also know your area very well. Some of those states that we're talking of, there are some villages that some governors have not put their leg before after election. It is not about going to Abuja. You should know your people. You should be able to organize town hall meeting and tell them that, oh, okay, this is what we've noticed. This is how I want to work with my chiefs. Some of those political elements have also more or less, push the local communities away. So it's not about just saying we are running to Abuja every day. You have a responsibility. You must discharge that responsibility. You have an obligation to the people. You must discharge that obligation.
All right, Mr. Owoseni, the former Commissioner of Police in Lagos and Benue. Thank you very much indeed for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, well, back in a moment. Stay with us.